Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Zoom. The minions with me tonight are Useless.
Hello, how goes it?
Adam. Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Adam, after I interrupted myself. God damn it, me of the past interrupting me of now.
Hold on,
Yep.
wait. So, all right. So, are we gonna? Let's do it live.
Yeah, we're doing live.
We're just rolling through.
All right.
So, say hello, Adam.
Oh, hello, Adam.
There we go. JenTMaxi.
Sorry
Jen,
if I
this
was,
is when you say
sorry,
hello.
no, sorry, you don't understand. I thought I heard my alarm go off, so I was just like, run! Because that thing starts off as like a very faint little beep, beep, and then works its way up to a very alarming So, I didn't want to do that at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody, I'm sorry for the lateness. Yeah, that was a car alarm. Stupid car alarm.
And also Cryptic. Hello, Cryptic.
Hello, potatoes.
Well, I
He's
do have
hungry.
those on my plate for dinner tonight. And, of course, I'm the keeper for the night, Sanguine. How are all of you doing tonight?
Well, alive and kicking.
We are off to a good start.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so mad that I just ran to my room and I didn't have to. Sorry.
View it as extra exercise.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. You don't understand. Like I did like probably about 200, 300 squats yesterday. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I
Jeez.
mean I did more than that, but like yeah, I'm feeling that a little bit. My bum is feeling that.
Well, I worked at the clinic yesterday and I had to do 2 days of work by myself.
Yep.
For fun.
Gotta love when that happens, right?
Oh yeah.
Jen,
Yep.
can I call you Squatterly Clinton?
No, you cannot. Absolutely not. Never. No, never.
God damn it, Cryptic.
No.
I second.
No, never. No.
Squattily Clinton.
Yeah, well, I don't have to respond to that, so.
Well, I stand with Massachusetts blood. Well, you.
Yeah, I don't speak whatever that it is. Queen's English, which I don't speak either, for the record.
Hey, guys, clown.
Not since I was
Oh,
like
I
6 when, you know what, I actually had flashbacks to that, because I repressed a lot of my childhood memories because they were boring. But then everyone's like, oh yeah, you guys were a colony. And it's like, I remember having to do that. I remember having to go to the gym and be like, to the queen. And then singing the anthem and then, yeah.
You had to do what?
Yeah.
Out of everybody here, my English should be the worst. So
Yeah, no, we had to take a vow to the queen. It was, I can't remember what the wording was, but like, yeah, I remember that. Like,
Well,
and you did the salute to the flag, and yeah.
So you had
And
like an
Cryptic.
extra pledge?
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
Cryptic, you say that, but you're forgetting how bad public education is.
Well,
That
it's
is
just
a fact,
Yeah, that is.
I think it was stuff like the flag lady in California, because we don't actually really do that. Like, you gotta understand that, like, after I was 6, nobody does that anymore.
Plus you're just a fox too, so.
Yeah, I am a little fox. Well, I like this picture. It's cute, and I share it with people who I think are needing something to cheer them up. So I'm in cheer up mode.
These are dark times, so a little
It is.
shine of brightness is pretty good.
it is dark times. Y'all just saw the what's your employment numbers, right?
Yeah.
I did not see the employment numbers.
It's
How
bad.
shit are they?
So the projection was like over 750,000 jobs,
shit.
right?
Uh-huh.
I mean millions. Sorry, we got like 223. Not thousand. I'm fuck. Sorry, it was thousand. Sorry. So basically, the expected was 750,000. We basically took a
Got
third of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I mean, you guys are already down anyway because everybody was kind of down because of Coof.
Yep.
right.
The thing that was pissing me off about the job numbers that they kept on crowing so proudly about was the fact that they were just looking at rebound numbers when they started going, hey, you're allowed to work again. Look, all these people return to work. We're doing an amazing job.
Well, the problem is we have the highest amount of available jobs ever in the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you incentivize people to fucking be home and lazy, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of people returning to work, right?
Well,
That's
hold
just-
on. It seems like there's it's like a wave type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least where I'm working at, there's we get a group of people that'll come in and work. They'll work for a little bit and then they'll leave. Now I don't know if they're just hopping back on the unemployment train or if they found a different job. But then another one will come in and then they'll leave. And
I think there's another possibility too, if I can throw one on there. I think a lot of people are in moving mode because I don't think people know what to do. Like everyone's kind of moving away to try to solve their problems, and it's like the same problem is kind of everywhere.
See-
well, yeah.
I would hazard that it is what a lot of different areas of the country have been experiencing for years, which is the people that are cyclically employed.
Mm-hmm.
They're running out of their time on unemployment. They'll get a job. They'll kind of force the employer's hand to sack them, and then, hey, looks like I'm back on unemployment, and you can't say that I didn't try to get a job. In fact, I had one. I just bombed out at the minimum amount of time that you had to work the job in order to re-qualify.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking, but don't you have to be let go? Like, isn't unemployment only given? Like, see, again,
Yeah, you can't just
You-
quit. You have to be let go, which is what
Oh, so these
Sanguine
people-
said that technically.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's honestly that's been, I guess the biggest cat trap for me is that's keeping me in line. Oh, am I?
No, you're fine.
I'm hearing echo from someone.
Yeah, where am I getting an echo from?
And it just stopped. So
Oh,
you're good to go.
all right. Well, cat trap, thing. Oh yeah. So, ever since I started working, I was always under the impression of, there's no safety net. The only unemployment you get is if they're like, hey, the company went under or something like that.
Mhm.
So this notion of these people working for a bit and then just leaving and then going back on unemployment, I'm like, how are they getting that? Because even when I was on unemployment, they were on my ass damn near every week. Like, hey, are you looking for a job? You looking for a job? And then
Well, like I
the
said-
moment I stopped, they stopped the checks.
The
No,
way
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Cryptic.
No, it depends on the state, right? Like in my state, right? You have to work at a job for like a certain amount of months, right?
I think it's only
And
3 for most states.
yeah, 3 for most states, but mine is 6, I
Yeah,
believe.
that makes
Oh.
sense. Three to 6. Well, 6 months. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, months.
3
yeah.
months is like I've seen people pass through by 3 months.
Right, but with like certain states, it's like you work for a company for whatever months, and during that time frame, uh, if you get fired or let go, they'll pay for up to a certain percentage of your of your pay as your unemployment. But you have to meet that criteria, and then you also have to criteria of you have to be able send in like 5 to 10 resume a week, whatever it is that they require. Each state is different, right? From my understanding, it is because of this whole COOF bullshit, right? A lot of it is a lot has been waived, and people aren't verifying it in it right now. So people are easily just like quitting and not declaring that they quit, but more that they got
So they laxed a lot of the regulations or checkpoints to getting them them unemployment bucks.
Yes, that's my understanding. I could be wrong. People can prove me wrong, but that's my understanding. A lot of these states that does that.
Well, I mean, that would make sense to me. Like at least what I'm seeing,
Well, they're overtaxed here in California, so it's all done online, even the verifications.
And
Yeah,
also,
You can fake it all you want.
also the way that in an area where they still do check, it has been done for ages because, like I said, in certain areas of the country, this is not a new phenomenon.
No, yeah, I knew some people would, but I knew some people more so on like disability. Like they would injure themselves, and then they would be caught up in a cycle of taking painkillers or something like that.
You have those people, but there were also people that would be cyclically employed by. My family has a family friend that owns a very small bike shop, so they sell and repair bikes.
Nice.
And that family friend has, for decades at this point, had a really hard time getting reliable employees. And he's pretty much gone, you know what? Most of the people in this area, fuck them. Because he'll have someone who they'll really put together an amazing resume. They'll say all the right things. They'll get employed. And for the first, like I said, 3 months is what a lot of areas have. For the first, 2 months and 3 weeks that they're employed, these people will be working fairly hard. They'll be doing a decent job. Once they hit that, they're 1 week out from that 3-month mark, they will stop doing everything.
Yeah.
They'll become belligerent when it comes to dealing with them. They'll become belligerent to anyone coming to shop at the store. They will start being lax in their work, which, again, bike repair, you don't want someone who's half-assing changing your bike chain or fixing your brakes. So it'll just reach that point, and then once they're getting towards that 3 months, they'll start they'll start trying to force his hand to fire them, knowing that if they can get him to fire them at that mark or just after that mark, then they can go on unemployment again, and unemployment's funded through a tax on employers. So he just had a bunch of people that would routinely do that, and a lot of the businesses in his area had those same people that would get a job at the very small local grocery store that they had, force that place to fire them, then they would get a job at the bike shop, force them to fire them, and then get a job at the small garage, force them to fire them, and just keep on doing that every time their unemployment was running out.
All right, hold on, before I lose this thought, because I had it, and then I lost it, and then I just gained it again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this character we just described, right?
Mm-hmm.
How could we transfer that to a Dungeons and Dragons character? Would that be like a rogue with specific traits, or would that be a different character?
The easiest way to do that would be a bard rather than a rogue.
A fucking bard?
A bard. Because that way, you could have them get a decent number of skill points every level. They're able to charm their way into a situation. And then once they've viewed whatever the situation is as having exhausted its utility, they can then completely flip the script and just become an asshole that the place goes, okay, we need to get them out of here. So they end up getting kicked out rather than having to say that they leave of their own accord.
And then there's the crazy people.
And it's all the acting that's needed for that makes a bard a better fit.
Oh no, there's just crazy people. There's legit some people that are just.
Oh yeah, there are. But I'm saying for the making a D&D character based off of the idea of the cyclically employed,
Yeah, because
bard is the best class.
I'm trying to think of how that would work in like a game setting or something. You know, like how would you be able to like, oh yeah, this is the class that I want to choose, where I'm just going around job to job, you know.
It would be a bard. That way they could talk themselves in and then also do the appropriate amount of acting in order to
like
get
the
everything
hidden
to
witch
go
character.
It's the
And-
pretender, you know?
then you'd just have this person.
Cult.
It would work as like an NPC character rather than a PC, because you actually want party cohesion when you're dealing with PCs. But an NPC character that keeps on signing on to a bunch of jobs with various adventuring groups, and every time ends up leaving, they'll coast for a while off of whatever they made going into it and whatever they were able to take away at the end. And then the moment that they start running low, they get into another adventuring group again.
See, I feel like I'm thinking from like the Evil Dead, like the witch character from the Evil Dead, because it always starts off like that regular customer, that regular person who's just sitting there, and all of a sudden they turn around and it's like,
I'm gonna eat your soul.
yes.
Shit, I was just thinking the way he described it just now. That sounds like the two characters from The Road to El Dorado.
Yep.
You know, Tulio and Julio, or I
Yeah,
think
they're effectively that character, only more noble. Because they do have scruples at the end of the movie.
Well, one of them, and the other one gets pushed into it. But yeah,
Yep.
the other one could have easily been swayed by some. Hey.
Yeah, but that's how you would make that character in a tabletop. And like I said,
Booty.
they would work better
Mhm.
as an
Sarcastic
NPC rather than a PC, because PC, your party will kill you if you try to be that PC.
booty. Yeah.
Your party will just straight up murder you.
Yeah, on that note, and it's a little bit side notey because I don't normally watch Osmond Gold, but I did for whatever reason, and he was exploring this channel on WoW with like nine people on it. The server had 9 people. I was like, do you know how hard I tried to look for that back 20 years ago?
Yeah,
and then I was
remember-
like, wow, I was over 20 years old.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, with that episode though, Jen, it's the classic server, WoW classic server with 9 people, because the way he would did he went booted was that the server was one of the WoW classic server that he that was rebooted by Blizzard, but it wasn't balanced because people left, so whatever, you know. It came down to nine. Well, it was 9 raiding guild, right? They were all alliance, and it wasn't really a great number of people on that server. The majority of them were alliance, and like the server best progression guild was a fucking horde server, by the way, which is weird. But you know, I always play a horde, so for the horde, fuck y'all alliance, is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I just didn't play at the right time. Like I just didn't have a group of friends like my brother did, but I didn't want to hang out with him and his friends. Like that's just
And
I
you're
play that game
just
solo.
salty You're just salty, Cryptic, that the Alliance has objectively the best race.
Who's that?
The dwarves.
Oh, hell no.
The
Racial
dwarves
ability?
are hands down the best.
No,
Sanguine and I will still carry women, you know.
Racial ability wise, man, I take undead any day. You know why? As an undead warlock, I'd fucking fear the living shit out of every fucking warrior and rogue that ever try to attack me. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. What are you gonna do? Try to kill me? I'm okay. Fear, chain fear, dot, chain fear, dot.
Yeah, but I'm talking the culture of the dwarves is
Oh.
clearly the...
Well, no, dwarves are stupid.
No, dwarves are clearly the best.
I think the gnomes better because they tinker.
No,
Yeah, but they were retarded enough they destroyed their own city.
Yeah.
See, I was a
Normal
Tauren.
guard?
I was a Tauren specifically so I could ride around the map on a horse because I thought that was just weird.
Yeah, I so these are my characters in World of Warcraft, right? I had a Tauren. Well, this is before the whole race change bullshit, right? So I had an undead warlock, undead mage. I had a blood elf paladin. I had a tried out orc warrior, of course. Troll priest. Tried a troll fucking. What was it? Troll hunter at the time, not anymore. It's we tried to shit. I don't know all my classes, but I played every single class in the game.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite still to this very day is still my first character ever is like the warlock, and the warlock is in classic WoW, like the original WoW.
Mm-hmm.
Warlock was the fucking one of the worst class to ever to like solo because the damage is so fucking low.
If you don't know how to use it.
Well, no. It's low until you get to a higher level. You know? It's like, oh, fuck. The initial grind was horrendous.
And that's how I
It's
played
straight up
the solo with the
slow
warlock.
Huh?
Well, that's how I played with the solo and a warlock. So,
Dude, did you go through the freaking Dresden quest line?
oh yeah, that was
That shit
yes.
that was painful. So I did that twice. I did that with Dresden, the 40 level 40
Yeah,
mount, and then the level 60 mount, right?
yeah.
So I did the same thing with the fucking paladin one too, and that was a pain in the ass too.
I
To
never
get
played
the
paladin,
freak-
so
Yeah, wow, they almost had the same like epic
the
mount.
mount style.
quest line. Yeah, it was. Oh my god, going through Dire Mar.
Well,
Oh dear lord.
I do kind of miss how they in the new WoW they got rid of all the class quests, which kind of ruined it. You know, like
Well,
Did all
that's
the
just
fun.
it. That's just it. They already destroyed the map with it in the first place, and then spent years working on other expansions to kind of fix it, and then you make a classic WoW to replace the map that you fucked up in the first place, and it's just like it felt. I feel like I didn't even play this game. This is just me listening to my brother like, go, why did you just? Okay.
yeah. I played all the way up to Mr. Pandas, and that was the last
Yeah.
expansion I played.
Yeah, that's when my brother left too. He was just like, it's not that I don't care about the pandas; they seem like a cool idea, but he was just like, you should have just fixed the problem.
See, I never really got deep into WoW just because I don't like how little it felt like you actually did in the world.
Oh, you've done nothing in the world. It didn't change
Yeah.
anything.
That's the problem that I had. I like games where you feel like you're actually accomplishing things.
Well, in Lynch King, they kind of did something like that, where you had where the world just changed based on what quest you did, but it's still very little.
Didn't they do something with
Yeah.
the where they started doing like base buildings or forting?
That was in like
No, that was a WAD, right? Willows of
Yeah.
Draenor. They tried to do like a garrison bullshit, but didn't work out very well because
it was like a mini game and like a mobile game inside your WoW. That's all it was.
yeah,
But-
it sucked.
The game that I remember, the MMO that I remember doing base building, was the first Conan MMO, which I think it was Age of Conan Iberian Age was the first one, right?
Yeah.
And that game started amazing when you first played it. And then they fucked it because they kept on wowifying it.
Yes.
In the very beginning of that game, you felt like everything that you did actually affected the world, which was amazing. Also, in order to activate your special abilities, every special ability was a combo.
Yeah.
So, if you activated the ability, the combo would pop up, and you'd have to execute the combo with the right order, right timing, all that good shit. And your character would then go through that process. The combat was all actually skill-based, because you had different blocks, you had different attacks. So, you were actively blocking attacks, rather than just, oh, that one missed, oh, that one hit, oh, that one missed. And also, you had to vary the type of attack, so you could do the diagonal from top left to bottom right, diagonal from top right to bottom left, vertical, horizontal. You could do a diagonal bottom left, top right, diagonal bottom. You could fuck up the combos. You could just duel someone by you guys each trying to figure out what the other person's going to do, so you know which block to use at what time against what attack. It was fun. And then you had the base building aspect, because the clans could actually take over areas of the map. And then, like I said, they just kept on wowifying it, so they made the abilities, rather than combo related, just be, yeah, you click the ability, it does it.
Yeah.
They removed over half the attacks at one point, and then they reduced it down to, yeah, there's one attack. And now you just click them, and your attack automatically happens, rather than you actually having to perform the attacks.
Well, they want to get to a more casual-based audience, though, too. So that's why they change
Well,
games like that.
yeah, but there's a point, right? Your core
That
audience,
ruins the game.
your core audience makes you the most money. The casual people, yeah, sure, they're in and out, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not the ones spending 10 years on your game.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And Blizzard has not fucking understood that.
It's like,
because-
yeah, 1 year's worth of money is worth versus 10 years.
And
Well, I wonder if they lost their way after a point with some maybe leadership changes, you know,
Yeah.
because it does seem like there was a lot of, you know, people who were working for the company who were very passionate about game development in all of the aspects, be it sound, art, or game, programming. And I think once this change happened, they, you know, a lot of them started splitting off, and that's where,
So-
you know, you saw like
and I don't
So
get the desire to just copy WoW when it comes to MMOs, because if people want to play WoW,
They'll play
there's
WoW.
a game that they can play. It's
WoW.
called WoW.
I mean, they don't even have to pay for it. They can even just use the freebie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just to get their fix, and then yeah, because you
Well,
can make as many characters as you want for freebie. You just play them until they're level 25 or something like that.
well, it's also too the WoW with different skins and all that. You know,
Yeah,
so you're playing Star Trek WoW. You're
I
playing Lord of the Rings WoW. You're playing.
I kind of agree with that, but also I think it's just they weren't really fixing the problems. They were just fixing things that weren't really a problem. You know, like it's like a lot of the decisions that Disney's made, where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna cater to these people who really don't play our shit, don't give a crap about it," and it's one thing to cater to China, where I mean, you can sneak stuff in with China. It's not like the Chinese don't want to play big titty girls on WoW when they can get away with it. It's
Mhm.
just their government is like no for how much they're allowed to get away with. But at the same time, though, when they're catering to a demographic who's just like, I don't like her costume because I can see her titties, and I'm just like, do you know who I used to play?
Mhm.
I went for the big titty girls. I went for the slim big titty girls because at the time I wasn't a slim big titty girl. I am now, but you know what? I'm still going to play that character just because it made me feel like I was a character in that world. Because let's be real, nobody in that game is realistic
Mhm.
at all. Like, even the farm hands are like, I am buff god Thor.
Yeah. And like I said, when it comes to trying to copy a game like that, I can understand looking at a game and going, hey, this game had a really cool aspect, which you see with games every so often, where you'll have a game that kind of almost redefines the genre.
Hmm.
But to say that every time that a game redefines the genre, every game just tries to become a carbon copy of it,
Yeah.
I don't think is fair. Because a lot of them, they go, that thing that this game did, that was fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Let's include that thing in the game that we were already doing,
Well,
rather
I've been,
than let's just make that game with a
yeah.
different lore set.
Well,
And I don't have a problem
I've,
with that. I
I've
think
been
there's a
playing.
lot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I've been playing this game called Immortal: The Rise of Phoenix,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
or Phoenix Rising, and it's pretty much a Zelda Breath of the Wild clone, but it's awesome still. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand wrong with being a clone of a game as long as it's good.
Well,
Wait. What was the game called?
Immortal Rising of Phoenix or Phoenix Rising.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that was the one with like the Greek type
Yeah,
of. Yeah, that was a pretty good game.
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with taking inspiration for an idea that works, because like, yeah, there was a lot of games that did that. Like,
That's how we get Battle of Olympus.
well, it's like the survival genre. Like, I mean, how many of those are they might as well be carbon copies. Like between Conan, Ark, 7 Days to Die, like even the mods half the time are the exact same mods. Um, just different game. But it was nice to see that some places would take certain things from each other. But you know what? They all fall under the same category as WoW, in that they do have a really brilliant concept. They do have a chance for an audience that will last with them for years. But rather than fixing the actual problems, they're trying to add stuff, or they're just trying to like. Uh, 7 Days to Die is probably the exception, because they don't just like change stuff. Like, they'll rework things all the time just because they don't know what they want to do. And I'm just like, you've already released the game, make up your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Make up your mind. And then fix the problems, because it's always going to come back to that. I'm waiting to see what Arc does, because Arc's supposed to be releasing an Arc 2. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, you guys are starting from scratch. You've hired all these modders, so it's not like you guys don't have a team of people who could probably wow you, because these guys fixed your problems in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to see them actually do that, because there were times where like you'd see stupid shit like dinosaurs falling off of cliffs, or um, you would just have random stupid shit happen
Well,
all
the
the
game
time.
used to
Can I hold
lag
on?
at having 80 dinosaurs.
Can I just interject here for a
Yeah.
second? That is a good question. Why don't these companies go off and look into it? Um, there have been a couple of companies. I think Sonic Mania was something like enemies uh, shit. See, I'm sorry. I'm playing Monster Hunter. And I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the creators of Sonic Mania. They started off as working on fan games, and Sega reached out to them. And I think there was another game that followed the same kind of like it started off as a fan game, and then the company was like, "Yeah, dude, let's let's work it in." And
Mhm.
I think nowadays, why not? If there's people out there that fucking manage to work out a copy of your game, why not just hire them, have them work with you? You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I
a lot of game companies work off contract basis. They don't really hire.
Oh well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But even then, you can contract with the people. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, a lot of places actually do that. It's like
Get them
hackers.
into the Bill
A lot of places will hire you if you're a hacker.
oh yeah,
You know?
and a lot of white hat hackers are old school black hats.
Whoa, that's some FBI, CIA type
I
shit,
know,
dude. Let's
I
be
know, but
careful.
it's still
Oh, no, that
it's still
isn't-
a it's a
That is
resume.
not just FBI, CIA stuff. There's, for instance, there are
Hold on,
professional.
do I need to get my tinfoil hat?
No,
Nope.
no.
There's a guy, I
Listen,
can't remember
people.
his name. He is literally a professional bank robber that is not being pursued by the police. Anyone care to guess why?
I don't know because you told a story before, but let's go ahead.
Because he's not doing it to rob. He's just going in and he's like, hey, this is how I did it. Just so you know, I can do this. If I can do this, other people can.
Exactly. He was a bank robber that was really successful. He got arrested, got sent to prison. He got out of prison, and he started getting a bunch of job offers from banks saying, hey, we aren't going to hire you to be a teller or anything like that. If you can figure out where our weaknesses are, what would make us vulnerable to what you do,
Yep.
and help us come up with countermeasures, we will pay you a consulting fee. It
And
won't
that's-
be as big of a pay in one go as you would get from robbing us, but it's honest money that you'll get every month.
Yep.
And the dude now literally just goes around the country because he's been employed by one of the big bank chains.
Mhm.
And he goes to various banks and he goes, okay, so these are the weaknesses. This is what I would do. This is how you avoid people like me from doing these things. And
That's
they'll
how a lot of them get their
implement his
job.
changes. Yep.
That's how a lot of them get their job. Like the only difference though is most of them don't rob. They'll just do it and like be like, hey, this is how I got in, and I'm just letting you know that this is the career that I want. Like I like doing this kind of stuff. So if you want to hire me, this is what I can do. And then you just show somebody what it is that you did. Well, that's your resume right there.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out.
There's a lot of the current white hat hackers
Mhm.
started as black hats.
Mhm.
For those who don't know what those terms mean, white hat hackers are people that are hackers. They hack into systems, but they do so in order to figure out how the systems are vulnerable. And they don't take any information. They just break into the system. Then they contact the business and they go, okay, so this section of your system needs reinforcing because I was able to get into it in like 5 minutes. Here's the entire data dump of what I did in order to get into the system. Here's your weaknesses. Patch them up. I'll give it another try next month. Sound good to you?
Yep.
And the businesses go, yep, sounds good, and we'll send you the money along as normal. Because that's their fucking job. And you get the same with a lot of counterfeiters as well. A lot of counterfeiters end up being people that are then hired to help make sure that whatever they were able to counterfeit is not as easily counterfeited again.
and you kind of need to do that every once in a while. Like it's not meant to be a reward system. Like, so don't go out there like doing bad stuff just so that you think you get rewarded. It's not about that. It's because criminals are always thinking ahead too. You know, for everything that the officers are doing to stop the criminals, the criminals are thinking just as hard too. And I always found that amazing with criminals. Like, I always kind of thought, you know, if we could utilize those people to really expand our technology, it'd be amazing, because it's like a pothead. You know, a lot of people frown at a pothead, but you know what? You take away a pothead's means of burning their weed, and all of a sudden they're an engineer.
What the fuck?
You know,
Just
you've done
because
it before,
people
Mr.
make
Adam.
carrot bombs does not make them an engineer.
The stuff I've seen somebody do with bottles and caps and
Well,
lighters.
hold on. I was right before you started off with the pothead nonsense. I was gonna say, hey, can I step in because I agree with you? But I guess now I don't, because holy shit,
I'm
you
sorry.
took it
I'm
off
sorry.
to a
I
fucking.
did. I had to throw in a joke there because it was meant to make us both laugh. But you know what I mean, Adam. You know at least one podhead who's just done something with random objects, and you're just like, what the fuck, dude?
Like I said, just because someone was able to hollow out a carrot in order to make a bong out of it does not mean that they're suddenly an engineer.
No, and I agree with you there. I agree with you there. But you do know of at least one person who's made something, and you're like, really? That's what you use that for?
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit.
Wow.
This doesn't apply to everybody who's a pothead, by the way. I just, like I said, everybody knows at least
Wait,
one.
what
The
do
rest
you
of them
mean?
are all
What,
like, are
you're
all
implying
acting.
that I'm a pothead?
I am a pothead, regardless of whether or not you are one, Mr. Adam. I know that you've confessed to it before, so don't
Have
you
I?
mind? Yes.
On this show?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you have. Yes, you have.
You've been Eagles Balls live on air a couple times.
Well, you know. I mean, I'm. Hold on, wait. Where was that letter that the lawyer told me to read?
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. You do.
I
do
can
live in the
neither
States.
confirm nor
that
deny.
does count. I'm sorry, Mr. Adam. If he does it, it's for medical reasons.
Look,
I'm
okay.
not saying that as a matter of fact, but I'm just saying it's medical reasons because he's American.
It's a rather lengthy speech. So rather than going into that, let's talk about our sponsor for this evening. Who's our sponsor?
I was wondering where you were going with that, so.
Me too. Shit.
Not true to
Washington
our
Coke.
us.
Best sponsor
Not
ever.
true to our us. I have my mom half convinced that Trudeau's dad might actually be Castro. And I'm really proud of myself. I am really, really proud of myself, because the minute I start getting the normies to start asking that,
Did you see?
I want a DNA test.
Oh, did you see him getting booed to not even get off the fucking train or
I'm
bus
not.
or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. No.
And the thing that was going around a little bit ago of him being asked to take a picture with a dude at like a restaurant or fast food place. And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And he goes to pose for the picture. And the guy just says, communist fuck, as he snaps the picture.
Get out of here.
Just
No.
walks away.
What? Damn.
I'm not really surprised. Like he has to know that between the passports and the fact that he abandoned our troops, just the fact that he started this election early, knowing that we are very much in debt, just like you guys are.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Because the Brits and the French, they had evacuations.
Yeah, they had special operators go in and pull people out.
So the Canucks didn't do that?
Nope, we've left 1,200 of our soldiers behind.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So we're not pleased. Well, I'm not pleased. I'm raging pissed. Like these guys barely get paid. They get treated like shit afterwards. If you come home injured, you get nothing. You get treated like trash. And I'm sorry. I have no forgiveness for Trudeau. If he doesn't understand one thing about our nation, he has to understand that we wear a poppy. We wear a poppy, sir, for a reason. Even if it's representing the current day soldiers.
At the risk of pissing off Cryptic, and sorry in advance, Cryptic, did you guys also leave 24 school children in country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. ended up leaving, I think it was 24 school children.
The kids from California?
Yeah, there's a group of about 24 school kids that were in country, and they are not accounted for.
We've also managed to take in 5,000 refugees, and you know what? Fair enough. I don't know who they've brought in, and that's the problem because they've never once been honest with who they bring in because they don't check, or they say that they check, but you know what? They already have operatives in Afghanistan. They already do.
Mm-hmm.
I know that as a fact because I remember reading that article. Even if you can't find it anymore, thanks Google for making shit difficult to find again. But yeah, there was military from our side that's in the leadership of the Taliban. They said that in that article, and I can't confirm the names because I can't find it again. And sorry, I can't do that. But
well, hopefully you can't confirm the names, even if the article was still live.
Well, I'd probably get shot.
Well, I'm saying more. Someone's gonna get shot if you can confirm the actual names that are part of it.
Yeah. So I have a lack of trust for that end of it, and he keeps doing this shit with the passports for the vax. He's really showing his colors, and that's why I keep bringing up the Castro thing, because honest to God, I'm not making that as a joke. Like, between wanting to have them actually do a DNA on him, like I said, I saw images of his brother recently, and I can't unsee that. You cannot unsee the image of his brother looking at at Pierre, and then looking at Trudeau, and then looking at Castro's son. Just does not compute with me. And seeing everything that he's doing, seeing everything that the Liberal Party is doing, I would not at all be surprised if he doesn't have ties, because he has ties to a lot of people. He has relatives in the Clinton family. You know, there's a lot of things about him that I didn't know about, and I was fair in 2015. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to confess. I voted for him the first time because I didn't want the NDP leader to get in charge. I thought for sure that this guy was an idiot and he would play as a puppet. And I stand by that. He is absolutely a puppet, but that does not change the fact that he's a puppet who's still in charge, and he can still make decisions as a puppet. And he says stuff all the time where I'm just like, yeah, you need to go. But at the time, NDP leader, he is absolutely a socialist. And I was like, well, at least he's being honest about who he is. And now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I should at least go for the socialist who's at least honest. I mean, I wouldn't have voted for him either way. I just knew that,
I'm just against voting for any socialist.
I didn't know he was a socialist. I didn't know he was. He was talking about pot. He was talking about pot. So I was like, okay, this incompetent idiot's going to bring in pot. I'm like, okay, at the very least, we'll have 4 years of an idiot.
Socialism has a nasty habit of being one of those systems that you can vote in, but you can't vote out.
That's exactly the problem, because I didn't realize he was a socialist. Because at first, like, you know, I think Functional talked about this before, because he used to talk about giving more say to the other provinces, to give more votes to the other provinces, to actually make something a little bit more like to the Electoral College. And that's such a joke, because he's never once had any intentions of doing that. That was on his first platform. And I was like, okay, well, I can understand why some of the Liberals were into that. That's something as a conservative that I wanted to have, because I got tired of the feeling that everyone was relying on the Conservatives from Alberta to change things in our country is unrealistic, because we can't do it. And the people here, it always ends up being about money. I don't want change in our country to be about money, because that's how you bring in bad people from other countries. Flat out. I'm not talking about refugees. I'm talking about people doing business. That's how you bring in bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want our money and our economy to go into our country so that everybody in our country is doing well. Like, even the little communities who are struggling, like our native communities and all that other shit. But we're run by people who are socialists, which means that they do a lot of talking. They don't do a lot of walking. And yes,
And-
you do. Oh, go ahead.
What we need to do is we need to get back to the habit of. Are all of you familiar with what plowback is? Yes.
I think
no,
I think
maybe?
I've heard of
Not
the
off the top of my
TUR,
head,
but
no.
I can't remember what it stands for. I think I've read about it before.
Well, how about you give us an example or explain it to us?
The easiest way to explain it is actually with an example, so I'll do both at one time, Adam. Imagine that
Alright.
you own a farm. So you've just harvested your fields. You have all that surplus that you get from harvesting the fields.
On the
which
shaft.
you'll then be able to sell off, right?
Yeah.
So if you sell everything off, what do you do the next time that you're for the next crop? Is there anything that you can do for the next crop? Or did selling off everything, every seed for wheat, for instance, mean that you no longer have anything to plant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you do is you don't sell everything. You take a portion of what you've just produced and you plow it back in. You put it back into the system that allowed you to make money in the first place. And when you decide to expand, you end up plowing back a greater percent than you did in previous cycles. Because in order to maintain, you plow back year to year the same amount. In order to grow, you take a cut to your profits, the amount that you're able to sell, by plowing more of that back into the company. Yes, it's effectively a form of reinvestment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you do it in Stardew. I mean, it's easy enough to figure out doing it in Stardew.
Yep, it's something that it used to be a really common thing that we actually encouraged with our tax code because we had certain tax credits that were given for people that plowed back in. And in order to encourage this approach, it was something like you would get a 25% or 30% cut of what you had to pay if you plowed back 20%. So you always got more of a cut than you put back into your company, making it so that it wasn't a complete wash. In fact, you would get more if you plowed back in than you would if you didn't plow back in.
And if you're smart like you are in Stardew, you don't just save some of the seeds, you also purchase more.
Yep. And that's another example of plowback because you're taking the profits that you have. And it's effectively any money that is put back into the company is considered plowback. So farming's an easy example because everyone can picture seeds and putting the seeds back in the ground. But you can do this with any business. So you're a car manufacturer. And let's say, just to keep the numbers really nice and round, let's say you make $1 million selling cars. Because you're a fairly small car producer. Then you take, let's say, 200,000 of that, and you put it back into the company. So that you can continue producing. And you're thinking about an expansion, so let's say that rather than just doing the 200,000, you put 250,000. So you can do a small expansion, and then you grow your ability to produce. Also, you invest in machines. that's a form of plowback. If you go back in and you look at, okay, we have this welder that we've used, and this welder has been in service for the past 20 years. By the way, someone's smoking directly into their mic.
Yeah, it's not me this time. That would be useless because I don't think Cryptic has a hookah in any sense of the word, vapor anyways. But I'm not judging it because I do have a vape. So
And he's, hey, don't worry. He's
But
almost gonna have his lunch break where he has his little tin foil lunch.
I'm
Gonna
just
sit on the
what you're talking
rail.
about.
now one of the things I'm just interjecting a different part of this topic just because I like using Stardew as my reference.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I really dislike about big government is how it works. So, in Stardew Valley, one of the things that you can do is you can go into the environment and you can actually find your own seeds. You can go and you can rattle the bushes, or you can pick stuff and you can turn those into seeds if you get a seeder. In real life, you can't really just go and do that. Like, you can't just go out and find berry bushes, even though you could technically go out and replant them or reseed them. In reality, you actually can't just go and do that because big government is like, well, no, we have to check that that's safe, and then they take your stuff. Now, if I were to make something more like Stardew, and I appreciate that guy because he did try to make something like he's a hippie, but he did try to make something a little bit more realistic. Now, if it was my way of doing it, I don't mind paying the government to check to make sure that the food that I've just gone out to find to make seeds from is safe. Like, I don't have that problem. I just want to know that I'm still allowed to use those seeds afterwards. You know, because we do that in real life. Like, you know, there's people who hunt. You know, if you hunt game, there's some game that you actually do have to get tested because some game has diseases. You know, deer and moose, they are subject to different diseases that are transferable to humans. They can make you really sick. So sometimes, if it's a bad season, you have to you usually send in a frozen sample, and they check it for you, and you have to keep everything frozen. And until that time, you're not really supposed to process anything, which is fine. You can hang an animal in a freezer, not a big deal. But it's a little bit different when it comes to produce because in North America, there's actually quite a lot of produce that you can find in the wild that people don't even realize is there because we've moved across North America a lot. Like little towns that aren't there anymore that used to be there 200 years ago used to have farmland. So like if you go out into you can in fact find berry bushes and trees. It's not all over the place, but you can do that. But in our society, you can't because you can't even grow food in your backyard in some places. Like I know in some places in the U.S. And I understand that it has to do with, you know, front lawns and stuff like that. Like we had some situations up here like that, where they were like, well, you're too close to the sidewalk. You can't plant there. And they weren't really mad that they were too close to the sidewalk. They were just mad that they were growing things in the first place. Because Lord forbid you feed yourself.
Yeah, it used to be not just a common thing, but a patriotic thing to have a freedom garden.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, feed yourself, and if you have extra, you donate it to your neighbors, to your to your block.
Here in California, you're not even allowed to collect rainwater.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
That kind of
That's
stuff.
fucked up.
It is because, and they're like, well, you know, it needs to go into the environment. I'm like, where do you think I'm putting it, you asshole? My garden is the environment too, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you have a bunch of areas that are trying to over nanny everything, and they're taking it to a ridiculous degree, which ends up pissing people off and ultimately hurting whatever ends they were trying to work for. Because a good chunk of these policies end up doing the exact opposite of what they intend. One that we were talking about very early on was unemployment. Unemployment is a policy that, on paper, and in theory sounds really good, really altruistic, right? You don't want people to go hungry if they lose their job and they're having trouble finding a job in their area. I don't think you'll find anyone that disagrees with that. Everyone agree that that sounds fairly altruistic and above board and like a good thing.
Yeah.
The only problem is that it becomes a lot messier in practice than it sounds like it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because rather than having it be a safety net, which is how it's normally referred to, it's a safety net for society. It instead ends up being a bed where you'll have people that will be cyclically unemployed. And they're cyclically unemployed because they know that there's going to be that cushion.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep getting a job, getting fired, going back to unemployment. And that's their life, because it is easier to do that than it would be to get a job.
Gosh,
And
life would be so nice if it was like Stardew, you know, because I'd leave my house, wander around, pick up a bunch of crap, throw it in a box, and get money for it.
Mhm.
Wait, why would you pick up crap and who's gonna buy it?
You never played
Well,
Stardew?
someone that needs to fertilize their fields, clearly.
Don't underestimate the amount of crap.
Hold on.
trees.
I completely forgot. You are a Canuck. Wah! Oh, and then hearing the
Whoa.
laugh chatter, and then it's like.
There are power plants that run off
Okay,
methane. so-
okay, Mr. Adam. In your town, you might be wandering around and going, okay, you know what? I found some extra needles. Let's pick these up, and then we're gonna go to the clinic,
Whoa!
and they can recycle them. It'll be a penny a needle or something. I don't know.
Adam going around policing brass in order to sell it back to people that are trying to repack rounds.
I don't know how that works in big city. I'll like concern Dave, and I'll be like, "Hey, can you do a big city version of this for a mod, just for a joke?
Tell
Like,
me
so what
more.
kind of crap would you pick up?
Tell me more about these needles.
I don't know. I know about people who pick up bottles and cans and shit.
Oh my god! You know what? I'm gonna take that joke and give it an ISIS K. You don't get it because it's the
Could you
fucking bomb.
imagine like a major park in your city so you could go fishing, so you could go and sell it to your market?
No, get out of here.
And yes, Spud Gun, we can see you.
It's a quiet night, Spuddy.
Then
You know,
responding to it.
They
Yeah,
do
we
that
have
in this-
more lurkers than we have active chat participants tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that in The Sims too. You know, like I kind of really appreciate that. Like, you know, even The Sims where you get the expanded ones where you go to different countries. Like I remember Sims 3, I had one that went to China to discover the Great Wall, and then you could go to France, and you know you're building a wine shack, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going fishing in your pond. Don't mind me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just getting a job in Sims is just easy. It's like, oh, I got a job, yay.
Oh, you don't even need a job. Actually, not jobs are holding you back. Do everything without a job, and you make more money.
Why
I
do I
rated
feel
toilets
like
for a
that?
living and just sold it offline.
Why do I feel like Jen in The Sims is the person that gets their sim married, then conveniently has whoever they married die, and suddenly their sim inherits the entire property?
Oh no! I do the opposite. My sim is depressingly like me in that I will go and I will pick the biggest field, even though it's ridiculously expensive. I will start off living in a shack, and then I just exploit everything that's free in the game. So like, you know, as long as you can afford to get yourself a painting stool, and you start yourself a garden, you pretty much have everything because you just go and collect everything and you just sell it. Go to the main stores and you just resell everything in the main stores and you just exploit the shit out of it.
Hold
Well,
on.
just one guy, he played as doing his homeless playthrough.
Yeah. I watch him too.
How are people still playing The Sims?
I mean, you get free
Normally
plants.
with a computer.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get all your free plants. Like you go out and you just find whatever is the most expensive plant you can find in this world, whatever expansion it is, and you go and you find it, and then you just plant the shit out of it.
It's still the same game, right? The same
It
game
is.
that, and
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to play that game.
There's I like to watch Gray Still Plays. I don't know that you watch this at all, sir, but I like your stuff. Because he plays everything wrong. Like he plays. I think my favorite episode with him was the 1 square room with 100 Sims.
square.
It was 3 levels, so technically speaking, it wasn't 1 square, sir. It was technically 3 squares. Learn how to count.
Hold on. So, do you think there's a parallel between The Sims and Minecraft?
Yes. No.
I
But
think
if
that
it
there's
was-
probably a sizable overlap of the people that enjoy them.
Oh my God! There's a gamer land for imagination land.
Like people who like to build stuff?
Yeah. If you like to build shit, both those games are fun as hell.
Oh
and
yeah.
if you get sort of the same kind of hell yeah as you get better at the game and you're able to build bigger things and be able to survive for longer periods of time before everything goes to shit.
It's also how everything builds. Like I have a preference for certain games based off of the grids that they use. Like one of the nice things and convenient things about Minecraft, as much as I find it boring, is that you can measure everything because it's done by squares.
Yeah.
So anything that you build, as long as you do a measurement on it, you can pretty much build it. It's just I don't like grinding that much. Sorry. And I get tired of making boxes.
When I play Minecraft, everything I do becomes absolutely insane. Like, my friends and I used to have a private Minecraft server that we would dick around on. One of us kept it up and running. All of us could jump in at any time of the day, just start dicking around. So, I was infamous on the server for having the most lethal home. I didn't die in my home. Everyone that came to try to grab something from my home ended up dying in some manner or another. So I had to make designated trade areas that were unbelievably safe by my reckoning in order
Let me
to
guess, you
keep
didn't light up
people
your
from
room. You
dying.
didn't light up your builds.
Oh no, I would light up my builds. It wouldn't be
Oh.
an issue of monsters. It would be like one of them was I had a pit that I had dug all the way down to bedrock from ground level. And then I had placed down a dirt floor and I started growing a daisy chain of trees from the bedrock all the way to the highest block that you can for the game ceiling. So that there was just this, it looked like one enormous tree in the center of our area. And then I had, my home was in the wall of this cavern. There was a ladder that you took down to, like, the, effectively, basement level 37. And then that allowed you to reach all the other parts of my home. But people would fall off the ladder, falling to their death. They would be going towards my pit, where there's this tree. They'd end up getting bumped by, like, a skeleton archer on the surface, end up falling to the bottom of the pit. I really liked having lava as one of the things that decorated my place, so people would fall into the lava pits and into the lava displays in the walls. I had people that drowned constantly in my homes. I had one section of that home where it didn't look like it was part of my home. It was just there was a lake near where we had set up camp. And I dug through the bottom of the lake in one section, so you wouldn't notice it. But if you went down it, then you would end up coming out into this massive diamond, or massive chamber under the ground. It was one block beneath the ground, which also a couple people broke through the ground and fell to their death. But it was one block below. They would be riding the water column down into this structure that was this massive floating diamond that was weeping lava, and water would pour into the top. They'd get in, and there's this like nice room that I had set up in there. But if they went too far to the edge and ended up walking off of it, they would immediately fall into the base of this diamond that was entirely full of lava, because that's how the lava was seeping out of the bottom of the diamond. And that chamber was just pitch black, save for this diamond that was lit up and the lava pouring out of the bottom. And I had gone around so that I had lined everything at the bottom with obsidian. It was a fuck ton of obsidian, because I'm talking this chamber that I dug was, I want to say, 150 blocks by 150 blocks. And it might have been 151 by 151, and I think it was, because the diamond was perfectly in the center, with the water coming down being the very central point of the cavern. So it was big enough that you couldn't see the walls, it would just be pitch black. And I'd lined the entire bottom of the cavern with obsidian, so that the lava just looked like it went into blackness. You couldn't see where the lava went. You couldn't see it pool at the bottom, because it was just obsidian beneath that level. And people would come into those homes. They would die horrendously. I would have to find their shit, put it at one of the trade depots. I made a farm that was a tower, and it was, I want to say, 64 tiers of 9x9 farms with waterfalls around the outside. It was made to be one of the most efficient things that I could crank out at the time, because this was before a lot of the updates in Minecraft, so you can get far more efficient than I was doing. But I was producing about 20 chests of bread in very short order when I was on the server, just because of this enormous farm. And people would drown in my farm, fall off the farm, die, and shit like that.
I always went for form over function, so I want to put the farm in a winding cave, with the water and everything.
Yeah, mine, they looked beautiful because they were just these effectively megalithic structures, but they were insanely deadly for all my friends, and I don't get why they were so deadly for everyone, but they were.
Well, were they paying attention to what you were doing when you were going up?
I don't know how they just kept on dying, because there were a couple times where I was going, oh yes, let me lead you to this section of my home, because someone would be asking like, hey, do you have any food? Oh yeah, let's go to the farm, I'll show you where it is. And as I'm leading them to the farm and I'm explaining, yeah, just be careful about this part, they would fall to their death, or they would drown, or they would fall in lava, and I'm just going, all you had to do was follow the path I was leading.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
You know, I always suspect that people don't know to do things like bring like dirt with them. I always bring dirt with me everywhere, just because like A, if you get lost, or B, if you're in an area where you're not really sure, all it takes is a dirt block up to just kind of look. Like you go up and then you dig yourself back down. You go back up. You go back. I'm gonna put a brainworm in your head though, Sanguine, because I think it'd be fun if maybe one night.
Oh no! Hold on! It better not be a coconut.
Oh no! Unless they have coconuts in Minecraft. Yeah.
They don't have coconuts, but they do now have cocoa pods.
Ooh. Well, that one I knew because the chocolate.
Yep,
Yeah.
you can make.
Um,
But for a while, you could just find the chocolate. Now you can actually make the chocolate.
well, I was gonna say I don't have the game at the moment. Like I had it on my other computer, so I think I'd have to find my account to re-download it onto this one. But
Mhm.
I was gonna say maybe something we could do one day in the future is we could have a Minecraft on the minions or something, because that'd be funny.
Mm-hmm.
You could make it like a contest or something. Like,
How many of you
Everyone
guys
would
play
start
Minecraft?
dying in my homes again.
So minions hardcore. Last one surviving wins.
Oh, my homes would just.
now I'm not sure how many people have that game, but I'm pretty sure a good number of people do. So in the minions, I'm pretty sure Della does. I don't know for a fact. He's gonna be like, no, Jen, I don't.
But yeah, that game was so much fucking fun. But yeah, I kept finding out that I would accidentally kill my friends.
Yeah, I do. I do. Go ahead.
I was also the person that would do the insane shit, like when we made the Nether portal once the Nether was added to the game. I went into the Nether and built entire fortresses and used the Nether as my main methods of transport across long distance.
See, I always was obsessed with making a floating castle, or just having my base floating in the sky. Just because I don't hate the overnight minions. It's just sometimes I just want to do other things other than deal with them. So I just like that aspect. But I also kind of like the idea of going up with a waterfall as my fake elevator, because I know the game has elevators now. Like I think they did like an industry kind of update shit. But
Well, you can make a elevator using goo blocks, pistons, and
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
remember.
there's also
what
bubble
else.
elevators now too. You use water with
Yeah.
bubbles in it. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the what is it? Soul Sound elevators.
yeah.
yeah, I just kind of like the water idea as an idea. But the thing with the water though is it's still a little bit janky sometimes. Like you'll do one waterfall elevator and it'll work fine, and then you'll do another one and it's just like, nope, I don't want to work.
I got stuck in one and had to restart the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, I liked other games like that too. 7 Days to Die was a fun one. But I don't know. I just played that for so long, and I got kind of sick of the updates with it. Like, yeah, I'm not impressed with the updates, to be quite frank. But I also haven't played it with my new computer, and that's something I really keep meaning to do. Because that also makes a difference. Because my last computer was kind of dying. The fact that I still managed to make it work with Arc was kind of a miracle.
Have you played that My Time in Sandrock's demo yet?
I have. I have to replay that when it comes out. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait just to see how it is, just because I'm gonna have to figure out how the menu section functions. It is similar, but it's different.
Oh yeah.
So I want to wait for a proper walkthrough, just because sometimes I'm like that. Sometimes I need to see somebody do it first before I'm like, oh. Because my time in Porsche, it was just like automatically, like it was the easiest thing I'd ever done. But they've done something with this one where I'm just like, okay, that's a little bit different. And I did try to do the walkthrough, and I realized I did everything backwards to what they were wanting me to do. And that's why I like to watch first sometimes, just because my brain is like that. I am kind of a little bit wired different. So when I read instructions, I need it a specific way.
Yeah.
But my time in Porsche, it was nice playing my time in Porsche, because they explained a lot of things in there. And then also it made me feel like a smartass, because I was just like, you know, back in the day, you didn't have a platform that just magically made this shit. You know, like you make a forge out of rocks and sticks. I'm like, there's more to it than that.
Yeah. That's the fun about video games. You know?
Yeah, I know, right? But that's the thing. It was futuristic enough that you could believe that they could do that. You know that, and I kind of played that with my mindset. Like, oh, if I was a Canadian born in this time, and I'm technically in the future, but I'm also taking grief from people technically because I'm one of the ancients, right? You know, and I'm like, bro, listen, it's not technology's fault that human beings have this problem where they like to fuck with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
people like
half
to
of
fuck with each other.
that's the problem, you know, because like half the robots in that thing that you fight look like something somebody drew in a Crayola book. Like
Yeah.
they took stuff from their kids and they're like, this is a great idea, let's make a robot. And I was like, that's what made the game fun, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I was my dad is an actual engineer, you know. Like, that's not to say that he makes robots, but you know, I've seen him construct little vehicles for my brother and I to use because he broke our we had what are they called? Little, it's not a race car, but for I can't remember the
Go-kart?
term. Sorry, what?
Go-kart?
Yes. My dad actually made our go-kart because he originally broke ours. And he decided that the materials that they used to make it were faulty, and that's why it broke. So he constructed one. You know, he's the guy that kind of taught me that it is kind of amazing that we can take something from nothing and make it into something.
Well, they used to sell this go-kart book, How to Build Your Own Go-Kart, back when I was a kid.
Yep.
So,
You know, but that's just it. Like, my dad was the type to teach me, like, I mean, you know, you might not have a house right now, but like if you actually think about what it is that you need to make a house, you can make one. You know, that's not to say that that's that easy. Like, life isn't
At
really
least
necessary.
barring regulation, you can make one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But like, it's just having the knowledge of how to do it is just what he was teaching me. You know, not that you should just go out and do it, but that if you have the knowledge to do it, there's nothing holding you back. And I think it's low key. Like, even though we're not really a religious family either, it's low key the fish story. You know, you can feed somebody, or you can teach somebody how to feed themselves. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah.
well, talking about this, make things yourself. Have you just heard this thing called the Maker's Fair?
Yep.
This is a bunch of people who make their own gadgets and whatnot, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think somebody needs to check it out. You know?
I should. I actually will. Yeah.
And I still prefer my version of the Teach a Man to Fish one.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows if you give a man a fish, he's able to feed himself for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he's able to feed himself for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
There's another version that I prefer, which is if you give a man a fire, he's able to be warm for a few hours until the fire burns down, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you set a man on fire, he's warm for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Could be
always
some
my
hugging.
favorite version of that.
That's the more destructive version, yes. I mean, the minute you said fire, I was like, are you teaching this person arson? And then you said light him on fire. I'm like, yeah, you are.
I'm not teaching them arson. I'm making them a demonstration of arson.
Right? But yeah, no, I've always been in the opinion that things that teach you about independence and the joy of being able to do something on your own is amazing. I like I said, I was a little bit cheeky with my time in Porsche. I actually do think at some point I will do a walkthrough of it because they have done more updates and stuff since.
Yeah.
But
There's more quests now.
yeah, I still don't know if I want to do it at an angle because, like I said, when I play that game, I can't play as the current day character. I'm still Canadian and walking around this world, and you know, I'm like, listen, buddies, y'all are complaining about how the world went boom, but you've got trees that grow within 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, you have never-ending apple trees everywhere, so no one ever starves to death. At best, you have to, you know, work out a way to build a home, but like I said, the ability to know how to do things on your own is amazing. I actually I wouldn't do this in the game because it would be too complicated, and honestly, most people would be too dumb to do it. But like at the beginning, when you're making that bridge, you never even needed to make those parts. You could have done it at the beginning in front of that lake, you know. Because at the time that I was playing that, I was also watching a documentary on how they used to start woodworking. And it was actually quite a long time before they actually had the blades to just saw things. Like a lot of times they were just using wood blocks, you know, splinter blocks to make splinter boards. And just realizing how something like that is so simple, like such a simple concept, but it does something like that. Most people don't realize that. Like most common day kids don't know that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And that's, yeah.
This is something that it takes time to learn shit like that, and the
Yeah.
way that I don't know when we came up with the idea that learning should always be comfortable, because that means that someone isn't learning if it's always comfortable.
Yeah.
The way that you teach someone something, the way that they actually properly fucking learn it, is if they're held just on that cusp of comfort and discomfort, where
Well-
they aren't entirely comfortable. They aren't entirely within their area where they're going, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing. But they aren't entirely in the area where they're going, what the fuck is happening? Where am I, mommy?
Yeah.
You need to
Isn't that
hold
kind of
them.
how evolution works too?
Yeah, you need to hold them just in the difference. And yeah, that's how evolution works as well. Because if you have polar bears and over a course of generations, you very slowly increase the temperature of the area that they live, they'll gradually, over generation after generation after generation after generation, become more and more tolerant to warmer temperatures.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take a polar bear and you plop him down in Death Valley right now, you just killed a polar bear.
Yeah, you did. Pretty much. Yeah, yep.
But if it's a gradual thing over generations, then it works. If you're trying to teach someone how to fight, you don't immediately throw them in the ring with the world heavyweight champion and go, you can do it. Because what's going to happen is, just like the polar bear in the desert, you just killed that boy. What made you think throwing a 6-year-old against the current world heavyweight champion and having them both take it seriously would teach this boy how to fight? You just killed him.
Yes, it's not like swimming. You just throw them in. You never learn how to swim that way, you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of my appeal for that game. Like, if all the rules in that world applied, that would be one of the game worlds that I'd want to go to. Especially if I had the inventory system. Because if I had that inventory system, I'm like, listen, bros, you just let me fill my inventory up, and then I will go to the next city, and I will conquer that city because I can rebuild it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy and like laughable, but like the thing with that world is the nice thing about it is their technology is to the point where you are making a crane work to the point where an elementary school student could do it. And I'm saying this is somebody who's got Cryptic, who I don't know if he actually played it. I know he had the game, and he's been quiet the whole time. But like I joked with him, like, you're an engineer. I want to see your response to this. Not because I want you to play an engineering game. I know that that's what you do. So doing what you do on your own time. But yeah, it's dumbed down to that point. So like in this world, with it being that dumbed down, and me knowing as much as I do about like ancient technology, yeah, I would rule that place. At best, I'm a probably destructive as a force because. There's new species in the world, you know?
Yeah,
And that's, yeah.
Like I said,
I wasn't chuckling at anything other than I just joined back
Welcome
after
back.
hitting the bathroom. But yeah, but what I heard was interesting. So what kind of game were we talking about?
So it's called My Time in Portia. Jason was asking about My Time in Sandrock because that's the sequel to it.
My time in
Portia.
Porsche.
Yeah, it's like imagine Port Town, but it's a Porsche.
Right.
And it sounds like the car, so it's kind of little jingly there. But you basically you wake up on a boat. You're going to this town, and you're going to become a builder. And your dad was a builder, and he's left you basically this farm area where you're going to be making stuff, and you have the opportunity to have a little farm. So you can, basically have your own materials and stuff, and you go and you mine out materials. It is a survival game in that regard. And then there's like a little storyline. You've got pirates, and you've got an invading country that's kind of wanting to invade, and this is post-apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sounds
the way
relaxing games though.
it is actually, because it is at your own time. And I mean, it's not like if you die from a bad guy, it's not the end of the world, because like you've got a million times to come back.
Well, I found a way to slow the game down, so having more time for one day.
Yeah. I'm having issues with that because I think Nexus changed, and B, I have to re-download all my mods. But even without all that stuff, it was easy to beat everything. Like my first trial, I beat everything. At best, I was mostly frustrated because I found the last guy was the hardest one to beat, because getting to level 100 in the time zone that you have is the difficult part. Just because the amount of grinding that you have to do, and I found that I found it frustrating that the other characters don't really level up. So like you've got little helpers that go around you for the storyline that are completely useless, other than the fact that they might distract. And it's like, great, I've got a pet to distract, but that's kind of humiliating when it's Captain Arlo.
And you shouldn't use my name in vain. Come on now.
Or Remington, or Sam. Like Remington is like a war vet. He looks like a tank. He should be a tank, and I'm like, I'd like them to be able to level up.
Well, they're supposed to level up with you, but they never said how.
Yeah. So I was really kind of frustrated with that. But other than that, it's a nice game. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the storyline. I think the characters are cute.
The monsters are
design
cute
was nice.
too.
The monsters are cute. That's another thing I'd like them to maybe expand upon. Because I kind of thought it would be fun to be able to capture the monsters and make them your pets too. Because like you can capture the llama, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what if I could capture a couple of the bats, so I don't have to go around killing bats all the time? Cause I do feel bad about killing the bats. Or when you have to go after any of the animals, like at any point you could probably figure out a way to make friends with any of the animals. Like,
well, some of the stuff is farmable with the animal farms, but not very much.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know that any of the game devs are watching this. I doubt it. But if you guys do, this is probably valid ideas. Like just saying these are expandable ideas. If you could allow people to bring in the animals so they don't have to go out and kill them all the time. Just because there are people who like to do both. And I know I sound like a vegan or something like that, but I'm trying to speak to you as somebody who is actually a capitalist. Because here's the thing, the reason that we have cows is because it's cheaper to grow your own cows than to go out and get more cows. And now that we have our own cows, we can expand upon the products we get from them. So it's not just meat and hide and all shit. We get milk now.
Also, a big reason why we have domesticated cows rather than just going out and trying to hunt the early cows is... Are you familiar with how fucking enormous early cows were?
Yeah.
You've heard of the Auroch, right?
Yeah, they were big.
Yeah, they were described in comparable terms to elephants by Roman soldiers that had to face both. And there's a number of records that effectively say that, yeah, having to choose between fighting an Auroch and fighting an elephant, I'll choose the elephant every time.
I could see that, because if you think about it, there's buffalo as an example. Like we have killed off the big buffalo. There are no longer big buffalo. But those things were tanks. Those things were probably the size of small elephants.
Oh yeah, the aurochs,
Oh,
what
God.
the Germanic
How
tribes
they
would.
have tasted though.
Oh,
Dude,
they.
Probably
Buffalo.
delicious.
Buffalo was delicious. Oh.
They
wait,
were.
wait. I'm sorry. Are we still live?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we're
are.
still live.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
The
I am pro vegan and yes.
Don't you
please
lie
vote
to
for
me.
Adam loves his onions.
You ate
Ew.
several
Ah,
pounds
what?
of beef. You ate several pounds of beef on 4th of July, just like the rest of us did. Don't you
Oh,
lie to
dude,
us.
those steaks were delicious.
It's like, listen, I've never tried pemmican, but I'm open to trying it. It's just I haven't had it available to me, and I know it's something particular to different tribes. Not every tribe has it. So I don't just want to go up to a tribe and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you guys do this," because nowadays you get sent to jail for that crap, which
Well,
is
Wait,
sad.
you know
wait,
what
wait. No, no,
pemmican
no.
is, right?
Wait, Venigan?
Pemmican.
Pemmican.
You know what the actual ingredients are, right?
I don't.
I
What
thought
is
it was dried meat, so I don't know that it specifically has to be buffalo, but I thought that they used specifically
What
buffalo.
pemmican is a combination of typically 3 main ingredients. The 3 main ingredients are a jerky-like thing, so dried meat of some sort.
Yeah.
Then dried berries
Yep.
and tallow.
Yep.
Tallow.
Those are the ingredients in order to make pemmican.
It's
So
kind
you-
of fat.
Tallow is from any beef, buffalo, bison, anything along those lines. It's the name for fat. Tallow is to beef what lard is to pigs.
Mhm.
So what you do is you get your dried berries, you chop them up into fine bits. You get your dried meat, you chop that up into fine bits. You get your tallow, you melt that shit down. Then once it's completely melted down, you pour that into your meat and berries mix, shape it, and then leave it to harden, and then store for an extended period of time, because you can get like a year out of pemmican. But it is a very odd taste for most people, because most people don't think, you know what goes really well with my beef jerky?
Tallow.
Blueberries, strawberries, and
Ooh.
blackberries.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Wait,
mean, I
oh,
I
what?
put dried cranberries with my salmon when I made it a.
I was gonna say sharp cheddar.
That
Jesus.
is neither dried fruit, nor is that tallow.
See, I don't know that I. Yeah, because those wouldn't be berries that I would be using, but I kind of get that too, though, because they are field berries.
Yeah.
So it'd be whatever sort of berries you have access to. You dry them out, and then those would be mixed in with your beef, or you can also do it with deer meat and other types of meat, whatever sort of jerky you're using.
Well, the berries would probably hide the gaminess, probably.
Yeah.
It was more just, it wasn't something that was done really for the flavor. It was something that was done because it lasted for goddamn ever.
Well,
and
I
it
imagine.
had all of the nutrients.
I think it was that, and probably also the vitamin C, because I remember that was a thing too, was making sure that you got an appropriate amount of vitamin C during the winter months. And
That makes sense. Too.
I think they would have used something more like juniper berries. I don't know about Saskatoon berries. Like, I know up here, that's one of more of the wilder bush trees. But the thing with
Well, juniper berries is toxic if you eat too much.
yeah, that's the thing. So, like, they're going to use other wild berries. It's just when you talk about wild berries, a lot of the ones that are wild now actually came from didn't come from North America. We actually did a huge exchange. And that was the thing. I was trying to do a lot of research on which ones actually came from North America and which ones were from not just Europe, but all across
The old world.
The old world, yes, because that's the thing that a lot of people don't appreciate is that the British didn't invent everything. During that time period, between the French and the Spanish and the British, they brought over a lot of stuff. They brought over the international world. So that influx of food was enormous. Like, and vice versa. Like I know that I talk about that stuff all the time, but Adam, like potatoes, the French are the ones you can take for the first 20 potatoes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
What do I like? You know what? I do
Well,
want.
do you dislike potatoes? Are you not a fan of potatoes?
I honestly, I was just recently thinking about having a baked potato with some sour cream and
Well, you know what? I think that one is American. I'm not sure that that one's actually French. So you're
well,
welcome. That's an American potato.
I was unaware that the French was known for the
They
potatoes.
for
Yeah,
all
they
for all
kind
that
of
they fail.
popularized eating potatoes. in
Well,
the
I was
For
told
all
in
the,
school that they used to bake potatoes to keep in their pockets to keep their hands warm on the way to school.
So for all that they fail as human beings, and I'm saying that as a joke because I like Sam. Sam's one of my friends.
I love
But
salmon. Hold
I
on,
love
you know what? A
Sam. Sam L's
nice,
great.
clean cut salmon. Oh,
Sam
you know
L,
what?
not salmon.
Oh.
I'm going to tell him you called him salmon. But
We're talking about the fish. He's just hungry.
I'm hungry, dude. I'm fucking.
But
Yeah.
I will give them a lot of credit when it comes to foods that we now have because they're obsessed with food. Like it's one of those cultural things that you have to give them credit for is their love for food starts with the garden. It really does. Like they've done a lot to produce new foods, and the same did Italians. I don't know. I'm pretty sure what the French did for the potatoes. I'm pretty sure the Italians probably did for tomatoes.
Well,
I don't know that it's a fact. I wouldn't be surprised.
of course, one of the other major cultures that it comes to when you're talking about potatoes is the Irish and the
Yes.
Celts in general.
Yes.
Yeah, but the Russians figured out how to turn the potatoes into vodka, you know.
Oh yeah, Russia's one of the largest producers of potatoes
Yep.
on the global scale. They just turn the overwhelming majority of the potatoes that they produce straight into alcohol.
Well,
Yeah.
it's I didn't realize how much of their history revolves around apples too. Like you know, they've done a lot to evolve new apples. One of their biggest pastries was the pastilla, made from apples, and I was just, you know, and it kind of makes sense. Like a lot of pastries do come from Eastern Europe too. Like, you know, as much as I know a lot more about Western Europe, I've always liked the history of Eastern Europe. I just think that they're scary. Current day ones, anyway. But I still like their history because I like food. I'm not gonna lie, I like food. I have still lost 100 pounds, but I've expanded my knowledge on food because the more I learned about where food came from, the healthier I got, actually.
That just reminded me of a project that is currently ongoing in Canada and in certain parts of the northern U.S., which is trying to revive the North American chestnut tree.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because the chestnuts that you are most familiar with currently
Yeah.
are the, I want to say, Asiatic chestnut. There was a North American chestnut varietal that was one of the staples of the North American diet for the longest goddamn period of time. But due to I think it was a rust that swept through the nation. And I think it was a rust that was native to the Asiatic chestnut, but was able to cross over to the North American chestnut. The chestnut stock just pretty much completely died off. And Canada, as well as a number of test locations in Northern America, are trying to resurrect the chestnut. The chestnut used to be, or the North American chestnut used to be sometimes dubbed the Eastern Sequoia due to the sheer size of the trees.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because it's not the first time I've heard that about food up here. You know, they don't really write about it. You know, or it's stuff that I was a child for.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember so I've always been a super taster. So in terms of food for me, my relationship with food has always been kind of half negative because I'd eat something and it'd be good, and then I'd go to eat it again and I'd feel completely betrayed because they would change the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I could always tell. I could always tell when it was something that I shouldn't be eating. And I would just reject it. So, you know, sometimes I would laugh at Gordon Ramsay because I'd be eating garbage food. And you'd be like, well, why are you eating garbage food? Because I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It might be garbage food. And I know it's probably got more chemicals in it than anything else. But I know what it is. But the stuff that they've been switching up recipes for, I don't know what it is. But I know I don't like things with palm oil. I really don't. Like, it's really greasy. It's really oil. It's more oily than other oils. Like, I find it just gets on everything worse than anything else. I dislike that. Like, when it's in chocolate, I won't eat it. You know. And so a lot of my diet's been changed around that. And I mean, at first it was just like, you know, the orangutan thing. But the more that I like I said, the more I looked into stuff like that, the more I was just like, yeah. You know, it was like sugar. You know, it went from being sugar cane to using sweet beets to make sugar. I remember when that change happened because I stopped eating a lot of stuff because it was gross. Like I didn't like the change.
Well, the actual glucose that you get from each is chemically exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about the difference in the flavor, but I didn't like it. Like I think it's just it's like all artificial sweeteners. There's some of them like I don't like any of them, but there's some of them I'll tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because more of them are more obvious than others.
Well, for me,
Like
it's the aftertaste of all the artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, I can always taste it. It's just there's some that are more tolerable than others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather just limit the amount of sugar and eat real sugar. And yogurt, I can't stand yogurt nowadays. Like I really do have to start buying just plain and then just mixing my own stuff. I don't want to do that.
Well, you can make your own yogurt pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you have a instant pot or one of those other style devices. The
a slow
Ninja
cooker, you could do
Foodie has a number of them, but yeah, most of those devices have a yogurt setting.
But even that, you could do it in a slow cooker too, if you know.
Oh yeah, just it takes more temperature
Yeah.
control. You need to fiddle with it more than if you're using one of the systems that I was referring to that has the designated yogurt setting.
Yeah.
I will say though, my mom's obsessed with Activia. She's like, it's the one with the least amount of sugar. She's not wrong. I think they've got like 4 grams per cup, which is still a lot. But you know, the other stuff, I think it ranged from like 8 to 22 grams for the other brands up here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, for a cup of yogurt, like that's no wonder. Yeah, it's no wonder people are struggling with their weight when something that you're supposed to ingest, like, you know, if you're eating yogurt, it's for the protein and it's for the bacteria.
Well, that's
You know?
this fancy yogurt. If you want that, you want to go for the Greek yogurt because it still has the bacteria in it.
Yeah. I just find with the Greek yogurt, you have to be careful with Greek yogurt because it's thick. It's very, very thick. It's but on a diet, I don't actually mind doing that because I am looking for other sources of protein sometimes. Like, I am never going to go vegan, but there are days where I don't necessarily eat meat every day just because I've always kind of been like that. Like, there's just some days where I'd rather just have vegetables all day, but that doesn't mean I don't have protein. It means I'll usually have like an egg, or I'll have cheese, or I'll have yogurt. It's more like I'm more of a dairy protein day.
Hey,
Mhm.
so, I'm sorry to.
Yeah.
Sorry to, but so what's a keto diet?
Uh,
Keto diet is a low carb,
Mhm.
low sugar diet.
Yep.
Where you're eating a lot of meat, you're sticking away from complex and simple carbohydrates, so that's breads and sugars and shit like that, so that your body goes into ketosis, which is a state where it ends up generating ketones and then burning ketones.
Yeah.
So,
What the shit?
yeah, it's part. There's a massive chemical chain that is part of this, but effectively, you limit the amount of glucose in your system, your body starts going for other energy generation methods. Breaking down lipids causes the production of ketones, which your body then breaks down for additional energy. But there's pros and cons of that, and depending on your individual system, it is more or less effective, more or less beneficial.
Is it possible to build more refineries that produces ketos, and then I don't have to?
no.
No, because it is a
I'm
internally
mechanical
produced
man.
chemical.
Oh, damn it!
I
I know,
mean,
sounds made up, but most chemicals do.
if you do ever look into it, there's actually quite a lot of really pleasant recipes that you can do on keto. So it's not an undoable thing. It's just you might miss potatoes and bread for a while.
Oh,
But
fuck that, dude! I love potatoes. I'm loving.
see,
I'm gonna have. I'm thinking about making a baked potato for tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm not
Seriously?
lying.
I like potatoes
Somebody
too.
said it earlier, it's
Yeah,
been on my
I like
mind.
potatoes too.
like
I
I said, when it comes to a keto diet, it is minimizing the number of carbs,
mhm.
both simple and complex. Potatoes are an example of complex. Any starch is an example of a complex carbohydrate.
Fucking potatoes are always complex, man.
But I've always been complicated in that sense though. Like my system when it comes to eating is very random. I always kind of eat what I crave. And what I crave is actually lacking in cravings. So like I will go a whole year without eating a banana, and then all of a sudden all I think about
What?
is eating bananas. Yep.
Hold on.
Yep. Hmm.
I, I, I was told.
I like
Yeah,
bananas
it's
too.
weird, but
It's just I don't crave them. I don't eat them.
no, I heard I increased the potassium rate, so I'm like, oh yeah, so let's eat some more bananas, and
That's what
you
you would
know,
think, right? Like
Oh no, if you want to increase the amount of potassium that you're consuming, the easiest way is to eat a potato, skin and flesh.
bro, hold on. See, you're just you're just delving into my idea of I'm gonna have myself a nice
A
baked
baked
potato,
I'll be
and then
the
watch the Muppet movie.
Yeah,
Yes,
baked
that's what I
potatoes,
need to
if you
do.
eat the skin as well, are a much richer source of potassium than bananas.
I'm the same way
I'll
with
have a
bread.
banana too. Yeah.
I'm the same way with bread. So the difference with bread is, at best, I will eat bread a little bit more often because I live with my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and so as a guy who was single for like maybe 15 years before he moved in with me, he lived off of sandwiches. So there's no way that there's not going to be bread in the house. So
Lived off of sandwiches. Hold on, wait. What kind of sandwich?
my
Kind of
brother my brother made a sandwich out of everything. Like he's just a sandwich. He's a sandwich guy.
Whoa,
Um,
hold on, wait. I saw on Twitter, Boogie, um, number 2816 something.
yeah.
Um, he said that a hot dog was a sandwich.
Well, some people think that.
So is a taco.
Yeah,
Oh no!
then a
Oh
burrito is.
no!
A burrito is a Mexican sandwich. But yeah, I'll do that. Like I'll just if I end up eating a sandwich or if I end up eating bread, it's because I'm so hungry. I have nothing else to eat, and it's just the easiest thing to do. but I won't eat it on I won't eat it on the regular. I will not have. When's the last time I had bread? So I treated myself this week because I got paid. So I technically had 2 English muffins. So I count that as bread because I had 2. I ordered
Well,
from
yeah,
McDonald's.
you'd have to because they are
Yeah.
bread.
Yep. But the last time I had bread from then was a week and a half. I had a half a wrap. And then
But,
yeah.
yeah, to say that tacos are a sandwich or hot dogs are a sandwich is a vile calumny that I will not tolerate.
So cereal's soup to you too, huh?
That is also a vile calumny that I
Oh,
will
you know
not
what?
tolerate.
All right, that's it. You know what? I'm
There is no broth
all
in that.
right, Sanguine. If an Asian
No,
person
no, no.
told
Hold
you
on,
that
hold on.
that a bao bun was an Asian sandwich, would you agree?
Oh, bao, yeah.
Okay.
Bowels of bread.
No. It's too late. I'm setting riders to each of my fiefdoms, and we are gonna rally all of our knights, and we are gonna settle this once and for all. Not only is cereal soup, but a goddamn hot dog ain't a sandwich.
If cereal is soup, what is the broth?
We are done with this, and we will settle this at the field.
Okay. So
What is the broth?
I will see you on the field, sir.
I will
A
throw
broth is necessary for a soup. In fact, a broth is the necessary and sufficient characteristic.
And you
Of
shall
a
find all characteristic
So
broth.
what Sanguine is saying is that he does not think that
Over
that
the field
cow's
that you
milk
trained
is
yourself.
cow's broth.
No, cow's milk
Cow's
is not a broth.
All right.
It's a condiment.
No, bacon's a condiment.
No,
Cow's
on
milk
cereal, milk is a condiment.
What? Mayo is
No,
a condiment.
it's just a liquid. It's a
But you can
drink.
eat cereal.
for-
You can eat cereal dry. So it's,
Would you put mayo on a cereal?
You know what? If I was
No.
making no. If I was trying to make a crust for chicken and I wanted to use like say I'm gonna go
Cornflakes?
cornflakes. I'm gonna go old school. I might use some mayo for that crust because
Hold
I've
on,
done that for
hold on.
moisture.
Oh, that's subterfuge because I was even gonna say like you can what are they? That Portillo's over at
I mean, even Jason knows what I'm going for with that one. I mean,
Well, no,
I'm
no,
sure
no.
you've seen that recipe somewhere.
no, this place out in Chicagoland called Portillo's. They make a cake and they use mayonnaise in their cake mix.
I've heard of that, yeah, because it adds moisture. Like
It makes it fluffier
I mean,
or whatever.
yeah, because I mean, if you really think about it, mayo is really just egg whites and oil.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that big a thing to think about.
just don't use Miracle Whip.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I agree.
Wait,
with that.
why? What's that? Is
It's
that
not mayonnaise.
It's not the same.
Oh.
It really isn't. Like it's okay if you have nothing else to wet your bread, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I don't like mayonnaise to begin with, so you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of mayonnaise.
Yeah, I'm okay with it now. I wasn't when I was a kid, just because daycare kids usually what happens is they will buy a tub of it, and I never liked the look of it. In a jar, it's tolerable because it's not as sealable, but when you see it in a tub and they dump it down and it's just like gelatinous goop and you know, and I
Paste.
remember, and I'm sorry, the first thing I thought, going through grade 5 and grade 6 when we started going through the sex ed classes, and they're like, "This is what spunk is," and my first thought, "Oh my god, it's mayonnaise!"
Whoa,
Yeah,
okay,
if you're
hold on.
going if you're going to have mayonnaise, you should make it yourself, and it should be an aioli.
But
Really, just it should be an
sorry.
aioli.
Sorry,
If you're
I
using
forgot.
mayonnaise, it should be an aioli. Fuck standard mayonnaise, make it an aioli.
Yeah, I've got a really nice little recipe for a salad dressing that I do. That's little. It's 1 part mayo, 1 part sriracha, and then I make a vinaigrette with it.
Mhm.
And it's so nice with vegetables. Like I used to do a mixed vegetable salad at work, and that one we used to just throw on Italian dressing, and that's still okay. But I know it's not necessarily a hot sauce to hot sauce people, but I like it because it gives a little bit of a tingle for my little white girl sensibilities, so I can build up my heat tolerance. Thank you very much. But it's nice on a mixed vegetable salad, which honestly, that's how I do it. I don't do just salads. I do a mixed vegetable salad because you gotta fill it up. Salad does not fill it up. Salad.
And sriracha can be a hot sauce. It depends on what the peppers used to make the sriracha are.
Mhm.
Like, I have a triple smoked sriracha that I use quite often. That one of the 3 peppers that it uses is Carolina Reaper.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
So,
Smells just fine. It depends what you're using it for, you know.
million Scoville units. Yeah, that counts as.
Well, the nice thing about making your own salad dressing is you can mix it to your own, to what you want.
Mhm.
You know, like it's that's kind of why I got into doing that. You know, it's not to say that I don't still get salad dressings, because my brother's on a permanent diet right now. Not that he's, you know, he's failing sometimes, but you know, he has had to do a lot of salads. You know, so I really should be working harder at that. I feel bad. It's just, it's so much work, you know. Like my mom makes salad dressing and it lasts my mom and my dad like 2 weeks, you know. If I make it, it
Mhm.
lasts him a day, and that's the problem, because he doesn't understand that like he wastes sauce. It's the same with ketchup. Like ketchup is not expensive. You can buy no name brand, which is the same as Heinz, for $2, and he'll go and make chicken, and half the plate is covered in ketchup that he hasn't used. I appreciate that I talk to men who've grown up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't grown up yet.
Do you smear ketchup all over your plate?
No.
No, but
See,
you also
if-
know how to make your own ketchup too, so there's that.
Yeah.
If I'm having a dipping sauce with like fried chicken of some sort, like a chicken nugget or chicken tender, something along those lines, not a full fried chicken breast, then I'm going to be doing my standard of ranch and ketchup mixed together.
Okay, yeah, I used to do that too.
I'm gonna
Yep.
do a homemade mustard on mine. So,
Oh, that sounds nice.
you know. Well, mustard seeds are easy to get though, so you know.
Well, you know,
But yeah,
probably
ranch,
just do just a standard mustard.
Yeah.
Yellow
ranch,
mustard.
and, ranch and ketchup on chicken nuggets or chicken tenders or anything along those lines is good shit.
Whole lot, but if they're dino attendees, I gotta go with barbecue sauce.
See, if
Just because.
I think the weirdest thing,
And it's gotta be Sweet Baby Ray's. Yep.
yeah, I think the weirdest one for me was McDonald's. I always used to use honey with the chicken nuggets.
Ew.
Yeah, I
Honey
know
mustard.
it sounds weird. Yeah,
Well,
no,
no,
not honey
no, no.
mustard, just honey.
Oh,
No,
okay.
only because every time I've tried honey barbecues, it always tastes like maple syrup.
No, not honey barbecues, just honey. Like the honey that you would get for the pancakes, I would get it
You
for.
did that with your nuggets?
Yeah, it was
But you
great.
never had honey on your chicken?
Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here!
Oh, it's
Well,
so good.
hold on. You're a Canuck. You eat poutine. Get out of here.
No, that's Quebec.
Wait, why do you have against poutine?
Listen, I could sit there and claim to you that I've had poutine, and Quebec will just basically stick
Sir,
up their
I
middle
don't
finger
eat
in my
onions.
direction and tell me no, I haven't. There are
Poutine's actually fucking delicious.
I'll
three
Fucking,
reasons
they're
why I
both
haven't
outside
had
the
poutine.
wall.
3 reasons why I haven't had real poutine. For one thing, it's the style in which it's done. So, like the order in which you put the products on the plate is actually part of poutine. It's actually part of the cooking process. So you've got your fries; they're piping hot. You've got your gravy, both piping hot. And the third thing is that you have to have the squeakers. Or it doesn't have to be squeakers, but it has to be popping cheese.
Yeah,
Cheese
fresh cheese
curds that
curds.
pop. So it has to be fresh. So like it's something that you get
so
that day.
do
It
they
is that,
wait? Is it like they take the cheese curds and
Mhm.
they gather them all and that's what they like? They take them all and that's what they make that's what they add to the mixture.
Yeah,
Cheese
exactly.
curd is you take the curd after it separates from the whey. It's then squeezed and shaped. It's a very young cheese, and that's what cheese curd is.
Hmm.
Where
Yeah,
it
but
isn't really aged for a period of time. It's just you take it, you press it, you shape it, done.
Hmm.
that's what you add to the.
To the poutine.
Yeah.
Um, and so the idea is that because the fries are just made, they're as hot as they are going to be, and the gravy is as hot as it's going to be. Both of these things are going to be what melts the cheese. So the cheese is going to pop when you go to take the fries out with the gravy on it. The cheese is going to like make snapping noises. It's going to pop, and it's going to stretch like a mozzarella. But it's not even a mozzarella. Like it's not even necessarily a mozzarella. Because cheese curds aren't necessarily mozzarella. You can use them to make mozzarella.
Yeah,
Uh,
mozzarella's more aged.
yes.
Do you hold on? Do
Or
you think
more, not really more aged, it's more refined.
Hmm. Hmm.
do you think they make this stuff in Wisconsin?
Yeah, cheese
You
curd from
can.
Wisconsin's really common.
You can. The
Well, no,
problem is
because
that you're talking to Quebec, and Quebec is Quebec. I have talked
yeah,
to
you get
Hammer.
the authentic stuff. Yeah.
I am just throwing this out there. I did talk to Hammer about maybe bringing on a guest on one of our nights. I would introduce him to the guy in the first place, just because I'm not the type of person to left hand anybody. But I know a fellow from Quebec whose name is Caligula. I call him Magic because he's my unicorn from Quebec. But I thought I'd bring him on one of these days, just because politics from Quebec is different, and finding someone from Quebec who's not a complete asshole is very rare. And he's
Well,
actually pretty
yeah, they
funny.
are descended from the French.
Yes. And he's actually pretty funny. He's actually a pretty funny character. And Cryptic's talked to him before, and I know other people who've talked to him before too.
And
But he's, to be honest, he will tell you exactly what it means to have proper poutine. But he will also throw in ingredients that you're not supposed to do, because he likes to throw in corn hash onto his.
Corn hash.
so it seems like we've somewhat wound down. Shall we go around the horn?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, you know me. Have fun, because what's the point of living? Yeah, and having fun.
Then let's go to Adam.
Um. Well, as always, thanks for letting me on.
Always fun.
Thanks for the good conversations, y'all. And as for everybody watching, love you all and God bless.
Let's go to Jen then.
Well, I had a lot of fun tonight, and thank you for having me on. And not to pitch for my night in any way, because I kind of did there, but yeah, maybe someday I will horrify you guys with a guy from Quebec. He'll probably actually make you laugh, to be honest, because he's pretty funny. Also, I'm taking bets on whether or not Cryptic's asleep, and if he is, I'm gonna start singing the meow song.
I was just about to say, Cryptic, who I'm pretty sure probably zonked out after muting. If you're still around, unmute and say your good nights.
Meow.
Do-do-do.
And it doesn't sound like that's happening. So I will leave off with my standard of, if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night all. The zoo is closed.
Have fun.
Have a good night. Meow 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 meow.
Do-do-do.